Judd Trump over the years is over the last 2 or 3 years has really become a sensation as he's covering his face there. That's what makes him a character. Let's have a look at the walk-on from last year's World Championship when he really joined the superstar image.
The ace in the pack, Judd Trump.
This was the walk-on at the Crucible Theatre when virtually a standing ovation, as you can see from the 960-odd people in the audience at the Crucible Theatre, John. That was something that made my hair stand on, well, the last few hairs on my head stand up.
But you're all right on the back of your neck anyway, that's for sure. But it was fantastic, I have to say. That was a wonderful introduction, great atmosphere, and of course he did brilliantly well to get to the final. Obviously John Higgins proved to be one hurdle too many for him, but
Robertson
he was brilliant in that tournament, and he's proven to be brilliant in this one as well.
Certainly the next superstar of our game without any question. And we've had some great players, haven't we? Alex Higgins the first, Jimmy White and Ronnie O'Sullivan all became the crowd's favourite. Obviously the two legends in the studio there, or the three legends in the studio, they've got a massive fan base. Oh no, Robertson's been playing catch-up all afternoon. He's going to have to do it again, otherwise he'll be trailing going into the evening, 5-3. But this is another big frame. The third was a massive frame, and he was 2-0 behind.
He'll need to get the ball cushion very tight here, and he has. And even then it might not save him, but it's made this shot much more difficult than it would have been. He's usually exceptional at these, require superbly straight cueing, and he's got cueing as straight as anybody. Good long pot, but in between blue and pink.
It's amazing how difficult it is to get the required amount of topspin when the object ball's so close. Get up on the board. He's playing it in the top pocket, and this is a big shot at this stage of the game. Right into the heart of the pocket. Deserves to win a frame now.
I tell you what, you'd wear the leathers out very quickly with these two, wouldn't you?
6.
Bang in the middle. No sign of hitting a jaw there.
As we mentioned halfway through the last frame,
7.
I think 4-4 would be a fair result on the reflection of today's play. I kind of half hope it is 4-4, to be honest, because the match tonight would be absolutely wonderful.
I think you can see already in this break Neil's demeanour, he's fully focused in here. He knows the importance of coming out of this session level. Yeah. Once again, he thinks he's had a funny contact there.
14.
Yeah, you can see the black jumped off its spot. Makes this a little bit tricky, Willie, doesn't it?
Yeah, he's hampered now. He wouldn't have been hampered, would he? If he obviously played to screw the white back another 2 inches only, so he'd have the choice of the red in the middle or the one in the corner. He was probably playing for the one in the middle, to be honest. Because of the kick, the white didn't travel as far. The thing is with this, okay, he's coming across to pot the black in possibly the same pocket, and these can go wrong. You see, they can go wrong.
Make sure it's switched off, please.
Somebody's just had a message on their phone. Just if he misses the kiss on the black, it's absolutely perfect. Just flicked it.
It was a great Great recovery shot. A lot thinner than it looked, with a little bit of side.
22.
Beautifully controlled. It's become quite a difficult shot, certainly today on this table, to get absolutely perfect position on the blue. I was talking to Steve in the studio the other day about it, and he thinks it's one of the more difficult shots these days. It looks straightforward, but to get absolute perfect position on the blue has become a little harder with these cloths being the way they are. Very reactive. That's well played. Right at the top of the pack there.
25.
Yes, I think the main thing is when you're talking about that shot on the blue, John, is at least if you go top side of the blue, you've always got the baulk colours. And that's why Neil Robertson aired on the side of going big rather than short. And both these players are in the 90% pot success rate, as you can see there. And when you consider there's been a few balls missed, it just shows you how consistent they are most of the time. The only thing that's been missing in this match, John, is nobody's won the frame at one visit when they've got in first. They've always had to have a couple of chances, so I think that'll be the telling thing tonight, when somebody controls the game from the front.
Yeah, but these two players, the way they've been playing, it's quite surprising, that actually. It's been great stuff, don't get me wrong, it's been a very enjoyable match, but you would have thought there'd have been a bit more one visit stuff. That red needs to slow up. Oh, and it has. You could see Neil. He's looking at it.
Oh, he must have thought, if that had been first frame without any finger marks on the table or anything like that, that would have gone in, that red. The fact that it's had to travel across a cloth that's not quite iron now, you just saw it kind of slow up there.
Well, that was the good news, not going in. The bad news was the red went to the side of the black, so it doesn't go in the corner pocket. Obviously you can try and play on the pink or the blue, but it'd have been straightforward really, just to drop that in and stay on the black. You can see it doesn't go.
Well, he can get through to the red full bore, but he'd like to hit it on the right hand side, so it's a nice and easy shot to come out for the pink. But he'd have to play it with side, John, wouldn't he, to kind of swerve it round the red a little bit if he wanted to get out of the pink.
Yeah, I mean, there's always the alternative of playing one onto the other as well if you wanted to for some position. You don't have to take the one that's over the pocket there, not the other one onto it. But problem with that is, of course, you could leave that red in the jaws and that could cover the pocket. So got a few things to think about.
Yeah, the guaranteed position is to just get on the pink in the middle. You don't want to risk kind of leaving balls. What John was suggesting, if he potted the one red onto another and screwed across for the black in the same pocket, the second red could stay in the pocket. He's playing lots of side, look, you see, just to swerve the white round that first red and just to bring it out on and off the cushion. Didn't quite get enough on it, but it's still okay. But goes without saying, he's a long way away from the pink, and at this stage of the match it is, I suppose, missable, the fact that you're 4-3 behind. There's a lot more pressure on the shot. You wouldn't fancy him to miss it, but
that was beautifully cued. And under the circumstances, that was a big shot.
45.
Well played.
yeah, on reflection of what we've seen so far in the match, I think that's the first real pressure ball we've had, you know, where it meant that you're either going to win or lose the frame from playing it, and he played it perfectly.
Actually got 3 reds he can play on here if he just plays a little bit of top spin and through. Play to an area, as you always mentioned, Willie, where if you're not on one, you're on the other. There's a chance of being on 3 reds there, so he's on the one nearest to the black. Just got to check. Well, he's having a little look to make sure There's no problems elsewhere. Looks pretty straightforward to me, the next 3 balls.
And those 3 balls are all he'll need.
54.
Really looking forward to tonight's session. Goes without saying, whoever wins this match will be favourite going into tomorrow's, or sorry, Sunday's final. But
61.
the 2 players in the other semi-final are both cueing the ball beautifully. Ricky Waldron and
62.
obviously the Irish potting machine, Pistol Allen. Oh, it just shows you under pressure when you get a little bit twitchy. That was game ball and knockout. If he'd have played that a fraction harder, that wouldn't have gone in. But I think he deserved it. He's played some wonderful shots in this break.
70.
As we mentioned earlier, it wasn't a match where players have been winning the frame at one visit until now. This is the first time the player that's got in first has won the frame.
77.
We now may see a little bit of exhibition snooker. 2 cushions in between green and brown. Well, unfortunately, the session stopped without a century, but these 2 players have treated it to some wonderful potting. Both players are looking in great form, and tonight we're in for a session of snooker. Don't miss it. We're all square at 4-4.
Just wonderful stuff. We hoped, predicted, some of us, that it would be fantastic, and they've delivered. Steve, what we've seen from both players is confidence and class.
Yeah, and you never know how a snooker match is going to unfold, but I think it's been entertaining, and not every ball was potted. There were some occasional shocks, some mistakes, but that all adds to it, I think. 2 great players who are sort of like in the jousting part of the match. Tonight's the big occasion, I suppose, for them now. And
Stephen, as Steve touched on, they didn't pot every ball that they aimed for, even though I think that the potting rate for success for both of them was over 90%.
Yeah.
But that is what makes it so exciting, the fact that they will take on pots that are eminently missable by the majority of people that have a
Yeah, I think Neil's probably, the game's a little bit more reserved than Judd's, and I think Neil, on reflections, probably had the cue ball under better control throughout the match. But as Steve says, tonight's the big occasion. You know, you come out, it's the best of 9 now.
Ken, did you think that Judd's playing as well as he has done all week?
I think so. I think both players are playing probably at the top of the game. You know, they're both fantastic to watch. You know, the crowd are loving it. It's a great atmosphere. And now it's just down to, you know, best of 9 basically tonight. And it's anybody's game. There's not much between. We said at the start of this tournament that there's not very much between all these top players, and still we can't sort of pick a winner. It's very finely balanced, and the match is hanging in the balance as well.
There's great stuff from Neil as well, Steve. At the last frame of the session, as the guys were saying in commentary, no one had taken their first opportunity and gone on to win the frame. But I suppose it shows his class and the fact that, you know, he is a world champion. Yeah, and also I think probably of the 2, Neil will be the happiest. From 2-0 down, he looked like he could be getting himself in a hole, and he dug himself out of that predicament pretty well indeed. So I think of the 2, if you had to say who showed the most character in that session, you'd say that Neil Robertson has shown he doesn't go away lightly. There was talk, I think we were talking, Willie Thorne was commenting with him earlier, that we haven't seen Judd behind much to see what he's like from behind, but there, of course, the answer to that, he hasn't been up behind many times. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see if one of the players got a lead, how the other one really deals with it. Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, is there an advantage to either player, even though the score is 4-all and it seemingly they shouldn't be? Does one feel better than the other? Steve's saying Neil probably does a bit.
Yeah, I think so. As Steve says, 2-0 down, you know, you really, there's only 6 frames left. The chances of coming out level are pretty slim. But yeah, Judd's always been in front. It's always been pegged back, so he's probably had the less pressure on him this afternoon.
Don't forget, like, you know, during that match against Dominic Dale, you know, he was 1 fluke away from being 5-2 down. He could have been out of this tournament, but how quickly he's changed his game around and how much better he's playing from that first match as well. Like, so, you know, it's in the balance, and it's not much between the 2.
It is. We could use